Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope. Welcome back, everyone. This is Heather Hope with the Inspired Entrepreneur podcast. How are you doing? Happy Sunday to you. Okay, so what's new? Come on over to my YouTube channel. If you have found me on my YouTube channel, you can check this out on all of the podcast platforms. So, but if you find me on the, let's see if I can talk today. If you found me on the podcast, you can find me on YouTube. So you can choose whichever one is more convenient. But over on YouTube, you can leave comments for me so we can actually interact. Okay, so today is Sunday, February 21st. You know, we only have about a week left, right, of February. Somewhere around there, like a week. I don't know, like a week, just over a week. Okay, so I've been having a lot of things happen all of a sudden. And so I'm recording this right around 12:30 noon Saturday, so yesterday for you guys. And okay, let me tell you something. I have noticed a pattern where I will be very productive, really on things, getting things done, accomplishing things, and like a really good rhythm for days or weeks. And then there will be a time when I feel like doing absolutely nothing. And it may last for maybe a couple of days, which feels like an eternity in that moment. So it was, what day was it? It was Thursday afternoon. And I've been taking an afternoon nap right around 4:30. I feel like laying down. Sometimes I sleep. Sometimes I just need to lay down and just relax. And then I'm like back about a half hour to an hour later, I'm back up feeling a lot better. Naps are wonderful. They're a really great way to reset yourself and start over. So, to like re-energize. That's basically how I feel after a little nap, is just re-energized. I'm like, perfect. That was perfect. So it was Thursday afternoon, and I was really having kind of like, for 2 days, I'm just not feeling like doing anything. And I thought about it. I'm like, well, this happens for whatever reason, and I just deal with it. I don't I don't get upset with myself or anything. But I just kind of relax and I just do whatever feels good. And so I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking, like, I'm feeling out of sorts. And I thought, this happened like last month too. And you know what happened last month when I felt this way for a couple of days? I had like a breakthrough happen the next day. Like everything shifted and things happened and good things came through and all this stuff. It was like a breakthrough's happening. And I've heard this before, and I'm not sure. It's kind of like you're feeling uncomfortable. You're feeling I'm feeling kind of not right vibrationally, just not right. And so I had this thought. This thought was, a breakthrough's happening. And as soon as I had that thought, I looked at the time on my phone, and it just turned 1:11. And I'm like, perfect confirmation. Abraham tells us that when we happen to glance at those numbers, if they're kind of important to you, if you find them to be fun to catch, the universe punctuates thoughts. When you have like an epiphany or a good thought or something like you're on the right track, Abraham says that you will a lot of times be drawn to look at the clock. And that's the universe punctuating that very thought that you have. It's like, yes, you're on the right track. And I was just like, perfect confirmation. So I thought, oh my God, now I got a little more excited because I'm like, a breakthrough's happening. Because, if you've been listening to me, I've been waiting for a few things to come through. Like like out of my hands, you know, some with the state, some whatever, random things. And I've just been waiting very patiently, very like, yeah, okay, it's coming at the right time. Everything's good, you know, and just in the meantime, I'm doing everything I can do to prepare myself to move forward. Like everything is done. Everything I'm doing. I'm starting two businesses in addition to what I'm already doing. And I'm just waiting on those things to fall, you know, to come through. So I thought, oh my gosh. So this is what I said to myself, you know, between now and tomorrow, a breakthrough's happening. And then I got a little happy about it. And the next morning, a breakthrough happened. I got up. What did I do? I like got ready pretty early in the morning and I was on the computer and I was looking at real estate because I'm becoming a real estate agent is one of the two things I'm doing. So, you know, I kind of took a break from studying. Like I got done with the course. Online was a lot tougher. I've done this before. I was licensed 15 or so years ago. So I did all that stuff, and but I had to redo the classes. And during COVID, pretty much you can only do them online, which great normally, and great because I live kind of far. But online has always been more work, like because I've done most of my education was done in the classroom of like my bachelor's, my master's, and part of one of my doctorate degrees was done in the classroom. But when I had to transition to online, it was so much more work. And then I just really didn't like it because it was just so much more work. In person, you just can sit there and listen to the lecture and then you write a paper that semester. Literally, that's all you have to do. At least that's what I had to do. So online, it's like you have to do research messages and paragraphs and papers like several times a week. It's like ridiculous. So anyway, enough about that. So pretty much anything you do online is just more work because they have to, like, you have to demonstrate your knowledge throughout, right? Anyway, so real estate's, it's not any work. It's just a lot of reading and answering questions. Anyway, it takes a lot longer than in the classroom, or it feels like a lot more work. So you're reading instead of listening to an instructor actually being like a human and teaching, right? Humans teach and they find, if they're a good teacher, they find a good way to, you know, teach you the concepts, right? And they throw in real life stuff and like, yeah, because they're realtors and all that good stuff. So online, it's just reading definitions and reading basically all the laws and reading. It's just not cool. It's not the funnest thing. Anyway, so I took a month off from doing anything of that because I was just kind of burnt on it. Anyway, so my other thing came through. My other thing is basically my notary commission. I became a notary in Arizona and I originally applied in October. So, and it got denied in November because of just a small thing on my application. And so I had to reapply. But in the meantime, during that time, I decided to change my name legally before, since that got rejected, I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to change my name because if I don't want to start these careers with a different name and then change everything in the middle. That, especially when it's licenses and commissions and all this stuff, right? So I decided to change my name in December to my husband's name. And this is like a lot of information. You guys probably don't care, but I've been lining up all the things since October and they're like falling into place more and more and more, like one after another. And so I got my notary commission yesterday. So I've been waiting since October for this thing to start one of my businesses. So I've started doing notary loan signing. That's what I've been talking about. And so, because it's very lucrative and it seems like something that I will enjoy doing, a lot of things about it. So I attracted that business to me. And until I get my real estate license, and then I really want my primary focus to be on real estate. So That's what I've discovered the last few months. Anyway, 10 minutes in. So I started getting a lot of momentum yesterday. So I got the commission. I was so excited. Awesome. I ordered my stamp. I did these things that I've been waiting to do. And then I got into the real estate, got back on that and started studying like crazy yesterday and taking a lot of exams and doing the prep and all this stuff. So I'm really hyped on it. So I'm going to take my final next week and take my state and national exam very soon. So I'm excited about it. Anyway, so it's amazing how it's like we'll have down times when things are just lining up. Things are in the background working for you, and you just have to be okay where you are. And so when I start feeling that like uncomfortableness of kind of waiting and not feeling like doing anything, it's like I feel out of sorts, and then I realize a breakthrough's happening. A breakthrough's coming. It's like I'm not vibrationally in sync with what has been, and I feel like it's like I'm becoming vibrationally in sync with what's coming. Does that make sense? Because that's what it feels like for me this week and last month too. So hopefully that made a lot of sense. I hope so. Maybe it didn't make any sense, but hang in there. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Hang in there in those moments and just really focus on keeping yourself happy in those moments of when it feels like nothing's happening, because it's not that nothing's happening. Things are happening. And so much is timing. So much is timing, right? So there you go. So let's jump into today's message. So we're not here all day. Today is February 21st. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for sticking through these 12 minutes of me talking. I don't even know what I was saying, but so my momentum came back, or it got strong, basically. And things are happening very quickly, which is what I love. I'm excited about this. So, okay. So the book, The Inspired Entrepreneur, you can find it on Amazon. And let's read, or let's see what today's message is. Practice being happy. Notice moments that give you joy. Relish in that feeling. Get happy. Get happy, and then everything wonderful will be attracted to you. So that has been, and I've been saying this daily, is that being happy, feeling happy has been my number one priority over everything, over my businesses, over everything. It's just, it has to be, I feel happy. I feel like I'm in a good mood. And then and then will be enjoyment. Like I enjoy my life. I enjoy everything around me when I'm in a good mood, right? Tell me, tell me how you feel when you're in a good mood. Like when you're in a good mood, everything's wonderful, right? It's like there's no care in the world. You're just having a great time. Everything's wonderful. And that is the way to live all the time, as much as possible. So like last weekend for Valentine's Day, it was actually the 13th, right? And I took my husband to dinner, and I was just in this really awesome mood of enjoying everything and not letting anything, like I know a little bit of like, I keep changing who I am. I'm changing my identity a lot. Let me tell you, changing your name, you can change your identity really a lot easier. I really enjoy changing my name. I've done it numerous times. And it's like I keep morphing into a different person, the person who I want to be for real, right? So like Heather Hope was a made up name. Like Heather is my real name, but Hope was my made up name, kind of like my pen name when I was a depression coach. And I wanted something that was memorable. So as a depression coach, right? As a therapist, you know, the number one thing is to instill hope in your clients. So that's where it came from. So Heather Hope became this, you know, coach, this person who helped people, whatever. So then I just, changed my name to my husband's name. And so kind of online, I've been using, Heather Hope Reed. And in my real life, life outside of, podcasts, life outside of social media, my legal name is now Heather Reed. So, and I've said that, one day I'm going to change my middle name to Hope. So it can all be legit. I can morph everything together because I kind of would like to be known as Heather Hope Reed. I really kind of like that because so much of all of this stuff is Heather Hope, and I don't want to be two different people. Like I just want to merge everything together and be this one person. So Heather Reed is this businesswoman, this confident, smart, businesswoman in real estate, in loan signings, in the mortgage world, all of this, because that's who I truly believe I am. And so it's kind of like when you change your name, you can change your identity. You can change your identity no matter what you do, but so often we hold on to our identity, on our name. Like, who is this person? Who has this person been for 45 years? And sometimes it's hard to change that identity when we've held on to it for so long. It's like I look back now and I look at the different names I've had, and it looks like a different person looking back now. I look like a different, because I keep changing. I keep improving myself. And just by the, as I go along in life, I end up changing my name. I've been married twice, and then I've reverted my name back to my maiden name. And then I used a different name that's not legal. and now I changed it, to my husband's name. So it's like, it literally feels like a different person each time I do this because several years have passed between names. And in those years, I keep changing into the person I really want to be. Does that make sense? So this is really a big deal when it comes to law of attraction, because how you see yourself is how you will be, and how you see yourself is how others will see you or perceive you, right? So it's a really big deal to change your identity to the identity of the person you want to become. So you have to let go of, oh, I'm so shy, I can't do that. Oh, I've never been able to do that. Oh, blah, 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 right? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Lots of blah, blah, blahs out there because people are just holding on to an old identity that they don't want anymore. But they keep holding on to it because they keep talking about it. They keep associating themselves with that trait. So I learned to let go of all that and to just focus on the traits that I want to be more of, right? So going back to today, practice being happy. How do you practice being happy? Well, first you can appreciate the things around you. You can appreciate them, not grateful. Let's get over the gratefulness. Let's appreciate. What appreciates, right? Look at the things. I was just, when I was clearing off my desk a little bit, I'm like, God, I love my desk. If you don't know, I got this standing desk, and it's like really long. I have a treadmill under one side. I've got bookcases on the end. I've got this bar stool that I like. So I'm sitting here it's really cool. I just feel like almost could feel like I'm at like a, I don't want to say coffee shop or something because it's like bar height. But it's this long table and it's high, right? It's up high and I'm sitting up high, and I covered the top with marble contact paper. So it's really smooth and really pretty, and it just brightens the room. So right before I got on the podcast, I'm like, I love my table. I love my desk. I've got flowers sitting right in front of me that are really pretty. I've got my vision board in front of me. I've got all the things around me that are really pretty. Like I set this office up to be really pretty and really pretty and very functional. But I really love it. Like everything I own, I love. I've always, I'm a Taurus. I love my belongings. I love my home. I love the things, how I decorate. I love the colors. I love how things have a home. I love this is appreciation. And when you feel appreciation for things, you feel happy and you have more to appreciate. meaning you will have an abundance of things to appreciate. So instead of feeling like or looking at things of like, oh gosh, whatever, like, oh, my floor is dirty, I have to vacuum it, or I have to, looking for all the negatives, you have to look for all the positives. And the more you look at, the more positives you look, the more you're going to find. So practice being happy. Notice moments that give you joy. I was talking to a friend a couple days ago, and she got, let's see what time it is. I was going to talk about this today or tomorrow. I'll do it today because we're only in 20 minutes. So I was talking to her this morning too, and asked her if I could share this story. Well, let me tell you, the thing that if I forget this, because I don't want to forget this, this is one of the reasons why I'm discussing this, but what brings me joy is kind of being there for people. Like, since I got out of coaching, because it feels backwards to me. What I really love is sharing Abraham Hicks' message. I love sharing it. And that is one of the things that people have thanked me for, is sharing so much Abraham. Because if you're on my Facebook pages, I share videos, I share quotes daily, all day, every day. And I talk about Abraham, right? Incessantly. And so I've shared so much that people have either like, who is this Abraham? And they check it out, and it really changes their life. Or they get back into it because they see my posts and they're like, oh yeah, I should listen to this. And then they listen, and then they listen, and they listen, and it changes their life in a lot of great ways. So I really like that. I really love it. And it's just this kind of organic law of attraction. Like, me really being out of the equation, all I'm doing is sharing, right? I'm not even talking to anyone except for this podcast, but I'm just sharing their message. Like, here, listen to this. Here, here's a quote, and because we all have what we need inside ourselves. So I share the information, and then, I have a few friends that I talk to here and there who reach out to me, and they will tell me something that happened, and then I will share with them, or I'll talk to them about what they're sharing with me, or kind of if they ask me, what does this mean? And I kind of share my thoughts on it, and then they have epiphanies. I really like being the witness to that without like going out and getting clients and going out and doing this and creating a course and all of that, right? I don't like any of that anymore. So I really like this organic, natural, like sharing and being a witness to and helping and guiding a little bit, just a little bit. I try to stay out of things. But so that's what I appreciate. So I was thinking about this particular thing I'm going to share with you, this story that happened. And I thought about it before I went to bed that night, and I was just so happy. I was so happy. I got back into this happy place because I was so happy that was so fun, that she went through this thing, really understanding on a deeper level based on a conversation she and I had. And it was just so much fun to see that unfold. And that was just like enough for me. I so appreciated it, and it brought me back into a really good feeling place. Okay. So I was talking to this friend of mine, and she was talking about, okay, I'm going to tell you the first thing. She was talking about her daughter. She has this amazing, amazing daughter who I was going to say to her the other day, like, I would be so excited as a parent to watch this girl grow up and see what she does in this world because it's really incredible. That she called her a master manifester. She's really an amazing girl. She's 13. Anyway, just one little tiny example she gave me of one day. One day she woke up, the daughter, and she felt like donuts. And like within seconds, I think, or minutes, the doorbell rang, and it was her sister with donuts at the door. And it was just like this thing, and I was like, that's really cool. And I said, this thing, a lot of people think that this is like the instant manifestation. And like, how the hell does that happen, right? But I told her, I said, it's more about receiving and knowing. Like, you're receiving the information on this like kind of unconscious level, or unconscious level. You're receiving the information, which inspires the thought, and then it happens, right? This happens to me all the time. And so her daughter woke up, and because her broader perspective, right, her inner being knows everything that's going on, her daughter was connected to her inner being enough to feel inspired to want donuts. The whole reason that happened is because my friend's sister was on her way over to their house with donuts. So it's like one of those things where people call themselves psychic. I mean, you can say psychic, but that's, it's the same concept. It's like knowing something before it happens, right? But it's not like she knew it was happening, consciously in this physical state, right? The daughter did not consciously say, oh yeah, somebody's coming to the door with donuts before the doorbell rang, right? She just craved donuts and thought that would be a really cool breakfast. And then her aunt was at the door with donuts. So it's just this kind of knowing, but she doesn't know that she knows, right? It's just she received the information from her higher self that donuts were on their way. And then she felt like donuts. Does that make sense? So we were talking about that. And so I told her, like, this is like receiving, like this knowing before you know, like a knowing before it happens, but you don't really even know. So she's like, what? And she just really caught that part of what I was talking about. Like, she wanted to know more. She's like, where can I hear more about this? And I'm like, well, I probably talk about it all the time, but I don't know. But, and this is all Abraham, because everything I know, it comes from Abraham. And so she was curious. She wanted to know more. And then we just talked about some more stuff. So then like 2 hours pass, and she messages me again. This time voice messages, because she was in the car. She was telling me what just happened, which blew her mind. Okay, so she's driving down the road, and she's wondering about dinner. What does she want to have for dinner? Like, her husband and her daughter, what is she going to have for dinner? And then she thought, oh, I could pick up a rotisserie chicken. That sounds good, right? Rotisserie chicken. These are just thoughts, right? You ask, what sounds good for dinner? You start thinking, oh, rotisserie chicken. Yeah, it does. When I was listening to her message, I was like, yeah, sounds good. So then she's thinking about it. Like, she could go to Safeway. I think she said that, or maybe she didn't say that, but she could pick up a rotisserie chicken. And then she thought, well, her husband works in the town where the Costco is. And the Costco rotisserie chickens are really good. I was sitting there like, yeah, they are really good. I was listening to her message like, yeah, go get the Costco one. And so then she's like, I wonder if my husband would pick up. I wonder if I could ask him if he would pick up a rotisserie chicken. And then she's like, no, he's not going to want to pick up a rotisserie chicken at Costco. So I'll just pick one up at the store. And then she's like, well, let me ask him. Let me call him and ask him if he wants rotisserie chicken for dinner. If that even sounds good, I'll just ask him. She calls her husband up. And she's like, hey, she's like, I was just wondering if rotisserie chicken sounded good. And he's like, what did you say? And she's like, a rotisserie chicken. Does that sound good for dinner? And he goes, I am at Costco right now, and I don't know why, but I just picked up a rotisserie chicken and put it in the cart. Now, seriously, if that doesn't give you cold chills, it just, she's like, what? And it was just, I was listening to this, cracking up, laughing because it just was so perfect. So crazy, right? It's so amazing. I told her, well, we're all connected. Telepathy is real. Like I joke with my husband all the time that we do not need phones anymore. We can go back to, or not go back to the days where we didn't have phones because we're so connected that I contact my husband all the time. Like if you want to call it telepathically or energetically or vibrationally through my thoughts. I do it all the time with him and my dog sometimes too. A lot of times with my dog. So we're connected. And so it's just amazing in that moment. She's having these thoughts. He's at the same time at Costco picking up a rotisserie chicken. Now, here's the thing. Like she said she wanted the chicken and then she got the chicken. She wanted it at Costco and she got it. Okay, so chicken or the egg? What came first? Come over to YouTube and tell me what you think. Because, I mean, we kind of don't know. But who thought of it first? Kind of like her daughter in the donuts. The aunt had donuts way before the daughter even woke up from sleeping to think about donuts. So the aunt picking up the donuts obviously came first in that scenario. Otherwise, it could have been the daughter woke up for a while, woke up early, and then was like, God, donuts sound so good. And then in that moment, the aunt's like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to pick up some donuts and bring them over to them. Like literally that stuff happens constantly. Constantly. We are communicating with each other. We're picking up each other's vibration, picking up other people's thoughts. Like we're doing this constantly. How do we do this effectively? We do this by getting happy. We do this by going with the flow, taking lots of naps, taking really good care of ourselves to be in alignment with ourselves. Okay. So which came first? Did her husband think about Costco and Costco first, then rotisserie chicken? And then she picked up on that vibrationally, right? She picked up on that, like the chicken and Costco and her husband while he was over there, right? We live in a spiritual world, right? It's just so fascinating, right? So I don't have a clue. You would have to pick up like minute by minute to figure out some of this. And you probably wouldn't even figure it out. I don't know. But so like she contacted me this morning. So I was down into the next town picking up my groceries this morning. And I normally never do this in the morning. It just happened to work out that way today. And so I was heading back up north to my house. I was in a good mood. I was enjoying this morning. And I was listening to an Abraham. And then I kind of had this thought of like, oh, nobody's messaged me yet this morning. Because I've been talking to a bunch of people this week, which is odd for me, but that's cool. And so I thought about that. And then I thought about, because I was listening to this Abraham, and then I thought about her. And for just a second, I thought, oh, I wonder if I should send this to her. I haven't sent an Abraham to anyone in so long. I've just been like staying out of everybody's way, but really just focusing on my life for the last few months rather than really, focusing on everybody else around me, which I find is really great to do that for a while. So as soon as I had that thought about her, I put the phone, it was like another 2 minutes later, I looked at my phone and she had just messaged me like 5 minutes before. So right around the time that I thought about her, she was messaging me. Okay. So I didn't respond because I still had like 30, 40 minutes of a drive and I really just wanted to enjoy my drive. So I came home, I put my groceries away, I made breakfast, I was sitting on the couch, and I finally thought about checking her messages and getting back to her because I was going to tell her, hey, what happened. And then so I responded to her, and then she responded back to me. She's like, I'm literally right this second on Facebook and reading your post your podcast post right now. And she showed me a screenshot of Saturday's podcast post. And I'm like, yeah, it does not surprise me in the least. This is what I used to teach in vibrational marketing. This is how you can attract clients. You can attract clients very easily by thinking about them, like on purpose. You can think about them on purpose. Or if they pop in your mind, if they just randomly, right, pop in your mind, you can just have some nice thoughts about them. Under no circumstances does a potential client pop in your mind and then you say, they never do this, or they never do that, or they're never going to sign up for me. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Never do that ever, ever, ever again in your life. Never think negatively about someone when you need you don't need that. So every time I hear these things, or every time I experience it, I'm like, yeah, that's why I was really into vibrational marketing, into it. Client attraction, like true blue client attraction. Think really good thoughts about potential clients or your actual clients because you want them to get really great results with you. Think really good, uplifting thoughts about them. When somebody pops in your head, when you actually are in the area of like you can message people, like it's part of what you do. When somebody pops in your head, when you're in a good mood and somebody pops in your head, and you feel like messaging them, do it right then. Because like this just happened, that it happens all the time. Like, a lot of people say it's like the whole connection between you and your best friend or something. When you think about them and you call them and they call you at the same time. I used to have that happen all the time. It's not just your best friend, it's everybody. So you could do this with everybody. So when you feel inspired to contact somebody, do it in that moment. Because there's a reason. Now, if you're just trying to do it out of like fear, or, you're needing their business and you're like freaking out and you're frustrated or you're desperate, don't reach out to people in that energy because they're going to feel it and they're going to like push away. Just do it when you're feeling inspired to do it. That's like the key to client attraction. If you're in that area, that space of that, it's normal for you to reach out to them. Right. So anyway, you can do it with Facebook posts. You can do it with whatever social media platform you're on. Do it in that moment. I did it for like a year and a half. I did all my posts within the, seconds of thinking about it. And that's when I would get the highest, what's it called? Reach, and the highest, I reached people in that moment. Like we're connected. We're so connected. So yeah. So let me see what time it is, because I might roll this over to tomorrow. I'm going to roll this over to tomorrow, guys, because I want to finish this thing about how do you connect with this knowing? How do you connect with your knowing? How do you, like your broader perspective, your inner being, getting into alignment with that part of you in order to know more and to be in alignment more. So I'm going to let you go for now, and I will be back tomorrow. Have an amazing rest of your Sunday, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.